Hey, so welcome everyone. I'm just double checking. It looks like we are live on Facebook, on my business page, Career Success Strategies, on LinkedIn, on my personal profile, beverlydsmith.com or Beverly D. Smith. Actually, I think it's just listed as Beverly Smith. And on my YouTube channel, which is at Beverly Smith Resume. So I'm glad you joined me. And if you are new to me and I'm new to you, let me introduce myself. My name again is Beverly Smith. I have over 2 decades of experience in the staffing and recruiting industry. I'm using that knowledge and experience to work with mid and senior level managers to help them with their resumes and their job search strategies so that they can land the job of their dreams. And so last week on our training, I talked specifically about getting started with the job search process and how to jumpstart that process. It is all about getting a clear picture of what your next job move will be. And I highly recommend, if you did not see that video, that training, that you go back and watch it, because the steps there are crucial before you can even start writing your resume, especially you guys, if you are not clear on what that next role should look like, you really need to go back and watch this training. There's some great journaling prompts on there that will help you walk through the process. But this week, we're going to dive into how to get started with your resume. Now, I realize some of you may have no intention of DIYing your own resume, and I hear you, but stay with me. If you plan to work with a professional resume writer such as myself, what we're going to talk about today will come in super handy for you as well. So you do not want to miss it. Stay with me. And I promise this is going to put you one step ahead. So when you do get ready to work with a writer, that you will be even more prepared for the process. I realize, having done this, been in this employment industry for a long time, resume writing is stressful. It can be overwhelming. It's like one more thing that you've got to do so that you can start searching for a job. And the crazy thing, though, is when you stop and think about it, initially you're like, oh, this should be really, really easy because I know all the details. I mean, you know the where, you know the what, you know the when, the how, the why, everything you need. But when you sit down and you start to write, you find yourself just staring at that blank screen. You know, guys, y'all know what I'm talking about. That blank screen with the cursor that just flashes and flashes, and it just drives you crazy, like it's taunting you or something. So if you are feeling stuck, and if you have resume writer's block, never fear, because I've got you. This training is going to help you so much in moving the needle forward and getting you started writing your resume or getting you prepared to work with a resume writer. One of the things that most job seekers don't realize is that there is prep work that has to be done even before you begin to write. And I promise you, the energy that you spend in preparation is going to serve you very well down the road. It's even going to help you when you start preparing for the interview process, and just the information that you're going to dive into here. It's just going to really get your creative juices flowing, and you'll find it useful down the road. So I know you're probably asking, well, okay, Beverly, what exactly do I need to do to get started to write my resume? How do I prepare? Well, I'm glad you asked. And so before I tell all, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to think back to when you were in high school, when you were assigned that research paper. And, you know, you didn't just sit down one night and go, okay, I'm going to knock this sucker out. Instead, you spent time collecting all the information that you needed. You spent time doing the research and putting it all into one place so that when you sat down to write, you could write your outline, you had your notes that you could go back to, and everything was all in one place right there at the ready as you needed it when you got to that part of the research paper. So the same thing is true with your resume. And I have a list of 10 things that you need to do in order to prepare to write your resume. And so number one, first off, is to go back and gather all your old resumes, no matter how far back they go. Now, generally in a resume, we're only going to really want to go back 10 to 15 years of the really solid data. You may have some things as foundation roles that you just list kind of highlights, but go ahead and pull out those old resumes because there may be some gems in there that we find useful as you start to do your research and you start looking for ideas that spark your creativity. So number two, I want you to gather all your employment records. So this is your job descriptions that the company may have given you, any evaluations that you had, your job titles, dates of employment. If you worked multiple roles at one company, make sure that you list those job titles and those dates of employment and that you have job descriptions for those. And if you don't have the actual job description, think back to your responsibilities, what you did, and you can just kind of list some things, but hopefully you'll have those. And so gather all of your employment records together. Number three, we're on three. So the next step is to gather any information on any trainings, whether it's personal or professional development. Write down the trainings that you took and when you took them, what you learned from them. List any certifications that you have, any licensing, continuing education that you did maybe in order to maintain those certifications, as well as degrees and advanced degrees. So list all your education out. Number four, I want you to gather any recommendations. This can be letters of recommendations, but not just that. Think a little bit beyond that. Think about thank you notes or thank you emails. Did your boss send you an email commending you for your effort on a project? Did you receive a thank you note from a client for your great service or the attention to detail you gave to them? Hang on to these because these are very valuable in telling your career story, and they may help you as you begin to write your resume. Okay, we're on number five. Have you participated in any projects? Were you the participant? Were you the leader? Either way, write those projects down and list the details. Talk about the challenges that you faced in those projects, the actions that you took, and the results that you got. Make sure you include as much detail as possible so that as you begin to write the resume, you'll have those notes to refer to. Number six, and I need to grab a sip of water here. Have you received awards, either professionally or personally? What things have you been recognized for in your career? Were you the top producer in your region? Were you Employee of the Month? Were you recognized for a civic leadership role? List all of those. Moving on to number seven, have you ever been published? If so, make a list of the publications or any books. Have you authored a book? Have you authored an ebook? List publications where you've been published, like professional journals, trade associations, blogs is another one as well. Just list out all those places and list any contributions that you've made in that arena. Okay, we are at number 8. So hang with me, guys. We're getting close. Have you made any presentations or created any trainings? List those out. What were the topics? Where were they presented? And to whom were they made? Were they recorded trainings like this that you did that's maybe evergreen for your company? Just list out those presentations that you've made. Okay, moving on to number 9. List any professional and civic affiliations. Where have you volunteered your time? Have you served on any boards? Have you chaired any events? Have you organized fundraisers or membership drives? What were the outcomes of these? Make sure you include that as well. Okay, we're at number 10. If you're a career transitioner, perhaps you are 10 to 15 years into your career and you've decided to go back to school because you want to make a career pivot, and you we want to look at your I'm sorry, I've lost my train of thought, but we want to look at your transferable skills that you gained as a result of your education. So maybe you don't have the experience yet, but you've got the degree. So it's real important then that you get out any course syllabus, the school's course descriptions for your field of study, any textbooks. You can probably go online and get everything related to your field of study. But it's important that we use those to showcase your knowledge, your training, and your learning in a field, especially where you don't really have the experience yet. Okay, so that's 10. I do have a bonus one for you, or we can call it number 11, whatever you want to do. But it's very important that you get a job description for your targeted role, for your next career move. And this kind of goes back to the training that we did last week, where we got really clear on what it is you want to do. Once you get that clarity, once you do research, if you are unclear and you don't know, you need to do this. And then you can start looking for job descriptions for that targeted role. And you may be going, well, hey, Beverly, how am I supposed to get this when I haven't even applied anywhere yet? How do I get their job description? I haven't even looked. Well, that is a great question. And this is where you can either research positions of interest on job boards, maybe Indeed or LinkedIn, or you can do internet searches for job descriptions in your targeted role. Another great research tool is to use an AI platform such as ChatGPT for your research. So, for example, let's say you are interested in becoming a community engagement manager with a major corporation. You're going to plug into ChatGPT or into your internet browser, community engagement manager for a major corporation. And maybe you know the specific industry, community engagement manager for the health insurance, something like that. Or maybe it's for a nonprofit. Give ChatGPT as much detail as you can, and then let it spit something back out to you. And it's super helpful for research. Love the platform for research purposes. So why is the job description so important? Because you can then target your resume for that specific role. You can even use the AI platform like ChatGPT to give you a list of keywords that are related to that role. Or I've also done it just doing a search in my internet browser as well. I will say, I've got to throw out this caveat when it comes to ChatGPT. Use it for research purposes, but know that you need to verify its data because it may not be 100% accurate. This is where it pays to also do other types of research into the positions as well. So at this point, so this is July of 2023. As of this recording, ChatGPT only knows up to 2021. So just beware that some information could be outdated, and just make sure you thoroughly research that. Okay. Now, once you've gathered your information for your resume, this is where you get to get busy and get to work. You're going to use this information along with the targeted job description to get those creative juices flowing and to tell the story of you, your career story, which is a unique story, and find your unique selling proposition. What problem can your unique skills and experience solve for your future employer? Think of it in those terms. I want you to review everything and look for areas and clues to where you've stood out in your career, where you've had tremendous success. And as you review each position for which you've worked in, I want you to think about what was going on when you took that role. What did you step into? What challenges did you face? So perhaps when you started working with your company, the company had just released a whole series of new products, and you were tasked with rolling out those new products and training the sales team on how to sell them. If that's the case, then I want you to think about, how did you do this? What were some of the challenges that you encountered along the way? What results did you and the team get? And just really go into some detail there and just kind of journal and write down those things. Don't worry about making it resume pretty to start out with, because you can come back and really narrow that down. Okay, next, you're going to use the information that you've gathered to spark this creativity. When you start thinking in terms of, what did I step into? What were my challenges? I don't want you to list just a whole bunch of job responsibilities that might be on that job description I told you to go get, but instead, I want you to focus on your accomplishments. It's real important that our resumes not look like a career obituary. Instead, y'all, we want it to tell our unique career story and speak to our accomplishments and use quantifiable data whenever possible. Okay, so y'all, we've covered a whole lot of information today, and you are more than welcome to go back. I didn't tell you, I should have told you at the beginning to grab a pen and paper and take some notes, but you can always go back and find this recording. You can find it on my Facebook business page, Career Success Strategies, or you can go to my YouTube channel, which is Beverly Smith Resumes. Or you can go find me on LinkedIn, Beverly Smith. It's actually, I think, Beverly D. Smith. And find me there and just scroll down to the posts that I made. I do these every week, and go down and look and rewatch this. Or you can do this. I've created a special checklist for you. It's called a Resume Writer's Checklist, and you can download this for free. I will list the link in the chat below so that you can go and reference that. And what this is going to do is it's going to help you remember everything that we talked about, the items that you should gather. Plus, it's going to give you the activities you go through afterwards. But again, feel free to reference this video, and I hope that will help you jumpstart the writing process. And also, again, if you are going to work with a resume writer like myself, or if you're interested in working with me, gathering these documents before your intake interview is really going to be very, very helpful. So again, I'll put a link in the comments to the Resume Writer's Checklist, and you can grab it there. And if you found this helpful, please make sure that you share it with your network. Be sure, do me a favor, guys, please like and comment on this video and share it as well. If you're watching on YouTube, click subscribe and click that bell to get notified when I go live, and I will be going live every Tuesday. So I will see you next week on my next video. Have a great day.